We're going to record. I'm going to go to number 17. Number 17. All right, so it says a school purchases a box of candy bars. Each box contains 50 candy bars and each box costs 30. It said, how much does a school have to charge for each candy bar to make a profit of $10 a box? So if the school makes a profit of $10 a box, how much total money would they have to have? The box costs the school 30. They want to make $10 profit. So how much total money would that be? Guys, I know it's Friday. You're about to have a long weekend. You don't ever have to listen to me again unless you take another one of my classes. Y'all understand what I'm saying? So if the box costs 30, if they want to make a profit of 10, that means they want to add $10. How much money is that total? 40. There we go. So we have 50 candy bars. And we need $40. How do we figure out the price per candy bar?
40 by 50.
There you go. Thank you. Okay. When you divide 40 by 50, we can take off these zeros. And it's 4 out of 5. The first thing that you'll notice is it's not going to be a whole number. Okay. It's not going to have a 1 because this is a regular fraction and not an improper fraction. So you can divide this if you want to, or realize that 1/5 is 0.2. So like if you divide something by 5, it's 20%. If you divide it, it'll be like this. How many times will 5 go into 4? Since it won't go any, I put a decimal. This is old school. We don't have a calculator. It's never mind. This is calculator active. That's my fault. Just do 40 over 50 and you get 0.8. I apologize, y'all. I was thinking we were in the inactive part. So, last time. Bring your pencils to exams. Any questions on 17? I'm sorry, I thought it was calculator inactive. All right, 18 and 19 we did. 20, 21, 22. It said, what's the difference? I'll read the top in a minute. What's the difference when the y-intercept of f of x is subtracted from the y-intercept of g of x? So it says, what happens? Read it, subtracted from g of x. Okay, that's just so you can see what we're doing. Well, up here is f of x. What's the y-intercept? 5. How can I find the y-intercept of this? Put it into stat. So we're going to go into stat. What do I need to remember about my calculator when I get it on exam day? Make sure you turn those stat diagnostics on. So L1 is -7, -5, -3, -1. I don't need the rest of that stuff. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh. Delete. All right, so I have that up there. I go to stat. Sorry, it's kind of blurry to me. Stat, calc, and linear regression. And we have that A is 0.5, B is 5.5. Which one is your y-intercept? Yes, 5.5. So then what is 5.5 minus 5? 0.5, all calculator active. Okay, so asking just a couple questions, not that bad. All right, look at 23. It says cell phone company Y charges a $10 startup fee plus 10 cent per minute. Cell company Z charges 20 cent per minute with no startup fee, so no start. Which function represents the difference between company Y minus company Z? So this is just like that other problem. They just give you the formula in there. How do I write the formula for Y? $10 start plus 10 cent per minute. And I'm going to use X, but it doesn't matter what you use. I'm just using X because the problem is if you use a different variable, that's fine. And then we have minus, what is company Z? 20 cent per minute, no start. And you can put a plus 0, but there's no start. You don't have to put anything. So again, it's calculator active. We're going to add our like terms. So it's 0.10. Let me get the calculator on there. 0.10 minus 0.20 is negative 0.1x. And then I have a positive 10. So look for negative 0.1x. That's the top two. And then we need a plus 10. Y'all don't make it harder than what it is, okay? Don't make it harder than what it is. Any questions? 23. We did 24. Look at 25. All right. It says Mario compared the slope of the function graph below to the slope of the linear function that has an x-intercept of 4/3 and a y-intercept of -2. What is the slope of the function with a smaller slope? So we need to know if this one is smaller or this one, okay? But we got to figure out the slope. Let's start with this part because this one's easy. How do we find the slope of a graph? We need to find two good points though, right? So I see a good point right here and a good point right there. We do rise over run. We did a rise 1, run 3. Is it positive or negative? It's positive because it's going up. All right, so there's the 1/3. How do we do this? The easiest way to do this is to make a chart. It says your x-intercept is 4/3. If it's an x-intercept, it crosses the x-axis. What is your y-coordinate? What's this coordinate right here? This is an x-intercept. What is that coordinate right there? This has absolutely nothing to do with the problem except for showing you what to put in the chart. 3 what? I went over 3 and up how much? 0. What is this coordinate right here? 1, 0. So every time you have an x-intercept, what is your y? 0. Well, if you have a y-intercept of -2, what do you think your x is? 0. Put that into your stat and find your slope. So edit 4/3 and 0. And the reason that I'm putting it into my calculator and not just graphing it is because of the 4/3. And then 0 and -2. Stat, calc, linear regression. Which one is my slope? The 1.5. So this slope is 1.5. Which one is smaller? 1/3 or 1.5? If you're not sure about 1.5, put your 1/3 in your calculator. It's 0.3. Which number is smaller, 0.3 or 1.5? 0.3 or 1/3. They don't even have this slope as your answer. Does everybody understand that? All right, there's 25. 28. You can graph these on Desmos. I'm going to do it on paper so you can see it a little bit easier. What does perimeter mean? Add all the sides up. All right. So we have the coordinates 1, 3, and remember you can graph them on Desmos. You can see if you're graphing them right. 2, -3, -1, -1. Here's our triangle. All right. So to find the perimeter, we need to know the distance on the outside. We've already done a problem like this. To find the distance, we do a triangle and do Pythagorean theorem. So what's your rise and your run of this part of the triangle? 4 and 2, right? So I'm going to take those two numbers, and that'll be that side of the triangle. Put it in Pythagorean theorem. I'm going to do it again on this bottom part. What are my two numbers for that? 2 and 3. So I'm going to do 2 squared plus 3 squared equals c squared. And then on the last side, what's my rise and my run? 1 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Remember to count the boxes. So I'm going to do 1 squared plus 6 squared. So now everybody knows where all those numbers came from, right? You're going to use your calculators to solve them. 4 squared plus 2 squared. How do I get rid of this square? The square root, the little checky box. I don't care what you call it as long as you know how to do it. Okay, so I'm going to do the square root of 20. That gives me 4.47. And again, you guys see that it says approximate right here. So we're probably not going to get the exact number, but we're going to get close. Okay, do the next one the same exact way. 2 squared plus 3 squared. You get 13 equals c squared. Do the square root. And we get 3.605. Do the same thing for the last one. 1 squared plus 6 squared is 37. Take the square root, and you get 6.08. How do we find perimeter again? Add them all up. So I'm going to try to do that at the same time. 4.47 plus 3.605 plus 6.08 gives me 14.15, which is approximately what? It is 14. It does not round up. It's 14.1. Did I good? All right, we did 29. Let's look at 30. What's the difference in the numbers in this chart? What do you notice about them? What's wrong with them? There's nothing really wrong with them, but what do you not like about them? They're all decimals. The reason they're decimals is because it's a frequency, which means that they're percentages. They're percentages. All right. So it says a college surveyed 3,500 of its students to determine if students preferred music, movies, or sports. The results of the survey are shown in the relative frequency table below. How many more seniors than juniors were included in the survey? So we don't care about freshmen and sophomores. Does that make sense? We don't care about them individually. What we care about is them total, okay? So how many total juniors do we have right here? How do we figure that out? We're gonna add them, which gives us 24%. We have 0.08 plus 0.09 plus 0.1, which gives us 27%. That is 24% and 27% of the 3,500. How do we figure out percentages? How do you figure out your 50% off? We did tax and discount, right? What operation do we use to figure that out?
Go to the right.
Nope. What do we do to figure out how much it was off? So like we had a $20 belt and it was a 5% discount. What do we do to those two numbers? Say it again. Not quite. You're almost there. Not divide, but we did not subtract. We subtracted after we found the number.
Oh, we have
No. The only thing you got left is multiply. That's it. So anytime you're working with percentages, it's a multiplication, okay? Anytime you're working with percentages. So 0.24 times your total 3,500. This will be junior. So 3,500 times 0.24 is 840 juniors. You're going to do the same thing with seniors, except for they are 27%. So 3,500 times 0.27 gives you 945 seniors. It asks you how many more seniors than juniors. How do you do that? Subtract. So 945 minus 840 is 105. All right. Same thing in the next one. Relative frequency table that shows percentages. There were 200 members. So this was our 35 before. It's 200 now. Hello. Hello. Hey. I did it. Well, I have emailed them. Is it a Jody or is it Marcy? No, just a. All right. Thanks. Yeah. All right. Can you do this problem or no? I hadn't either really. If you'll do me a favor and just find all the numbers with them, like the total amount of students. So 32% of 200, write that down there.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Just
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right.
It'll take 2 seconds. I'll be back before you even finish.
All right. So let's find 32% of 200. So you go ahead and do 0.32 times 200. That gives us 64. And if we do 0.11, let's get the calculator here, we can see it. 1 times 200, what do y'all get? 22. If we take the total, 0.43 times 200, I divided what y'all tell me. What do we get? I did something wrong. No, I did 86. All right, can somebody do 0.38 times 200? Okay, don't everybody do it at one time. Guys, these will be the ones we really hadn't done, so we need to see if we can. I believe I know how y'all feel. That gave me 76. All right, somebody go ahead and do 0.19 for me. Georgiana, 0.19 times 200. You don't have a calculator, do you?
Yeah.
Serenity, 0.57 times 200.
I don't have a calculator.
Kevin, 0.70 times 200. Lillian, 0.30 times 200. Or is that, Georgiana, which one was yours? Was yours 0.57?
No, mine was the 1.
What was it?
It's 38.
38. Serenity, what was 0.57?
Serenity, you gotta get a calculator, man.
114.
Point what? That's what?
114.
All right. Lillian, 0.7. Okay, did you do 0.30? What'd you get there? 60? Huh?
Yeah, 60.
All right. Kevin, did you do 0.7?
140.
Did you do 0.70 times 200? Or 300? Yeah.
Yeah, that's only times, right?
Yeah, 200.
Yeah, 140.
Oh, I thought you said 1.40. Okay, and then what do you think that's gonna be? Huh? It'll just be 200. Because you notice, like, all this right here adds up to 86. This right here adds up to 114. This adds up to 200. All this would add up to 200. Okay. All right. Which statement is true? 6 more 31. We're talking about fiction, so I'm gonna put a line right here so I know like that. 6 more 31 to 40-year-olds than 21 to 38-year-olds preferred fiction. So how many 31 to 40-year-olds preferred fiction? 76. All right, and 21 to 30. 64. All right, so let's figure out the difference between those. You're fine. Is that true? Is that true? Is 6 more?
No.
No, so that one can't be right. All right, 38 members are 31 to 40. 38 members are 31 to 40 and prefer fiction. So let's look at fiction. 38 members are 31 to 40 and prefer fiction. Is that right? Look at the number of people. No. Am I doing this right? We're gonna figure it out. If I'm doing it wrong, you correct me.
Phone's free, by the way.
Oh,
Sorry, I just wanted to get you in the middle. No, it's good. All right. 38 members are 31 to 40 and prefer fiction. Good. 43 members are 21 to 30, so 21 to 30. 43 members, that's not the truth, right? And then 140 prefer fiction. So fiction total is, what is it? 140. She's smarter than she gives herself credit for. Is everybody good with that? All right. Are we good with percentages now? You know how to find percents now? Okay, good. All right. So we did 32 and 33. We're going to hang on to 34 and 35. Hold on to 37. Go to 39. All right, so this one's kind of weird. Remember what I told you when you're trying to find your equations? You can put this into your stat and find your equation, but it's not going to look like this. I'm going to tell you that. So I'm going to go ahead and go into stat and put these in to show you. So typically this is what you would do. And this will work. It'll help you eliminate it. But the reason is the equation looks weird in the answer. Stat, calc, linear regression. All right, so I get A is 1.5. Is that hers? Yeah. Are y'all okay if it's just ringing? Y'all are good? Okay. A is 1.5 and B is 10.5. That means our equation would be y equals 1.5x plus 10.5. Don't think that you did it wrong. If you look at this equation, like I told you, you can eliminate things. We know it's not just a slope because it does have a y-intercept. We know that this n should be 1.5, so we know it's not that. So on this one, we do have 1.5 n, but we don't have 10.5. But a lot of you will think, oh, well, that one looks right. It's not. It's not. Okay, so that one's marked out. If we look at A, let me show you why A is the correct answer. What do we do when we have parentheses like this? We distribute. So we get 12 plus 1.5 n, and 1.5 times negative 1 is negative 1.5. And then we can do 12 minus 1.5, and what do we get? 10.5, which is exactly what we should have here. Does everybody see that? So just because it looks weird doesn't mean it's not the right answer. Got it? All right, so that's where they try to trick you on that one. Skip that one. All right, check out 42. We've done one like this already before. All right, the first problem says there are originally 4 trees in the orchard. That means they started with 4. Remember, our start is 0 and 4. Each year, the owner planted the same number of trees. In the 29th year, there were 178 trees. Which function can be used to determine the number of trees in the orchard in any year? I can put this into my stats. Everybody understand that? What they tried to get you to mess up on is this right there. Remember, if it's a start, it's got to have a 0. Okay, so I'm going to go to stat and edit. These are my X's. These are my Y's. So 0 and 29, 4 and 178. Everybody okay? Stat, calc, linear regression. You can get some crazy numbers. Oh, you're not. What'd you get? That's it. Any questions? Again, make sure if it's originally or started with, it's going to be your 0. All right, 47. We're talking about being less peaked and more widely spread, so that's going to be your 1-bar stats stuff. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to edit L1 to be what we see up there. See how I messed that up? That happens quick. 18, 30, 25, 21, 32, 16. I'm going to delete this out. All right. Is everybody good so far? All right. In L2, I'm going to put all the rest of them in plus those. So 15, 35, 18, 30, 25, 21. And the reason I'm doing it at the same time is so you guys will be able to see it at the same time. Okay. So I added 24, 22, 27, and 28. Since we're talking about peaked and spread, we're going to make graphs. So watch how we do this. We're going to go to second and y equals. We're going to hit enter. We're going to turn this on, but we're going to make a bar graph. We're going to make a bar graph. I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to turn plot 2 on. And I'm going to change this one to L2. The way you do that is second and 2. Second and 2. And I'm gonna change it to, stop, it's being, hold on, it's being weird. There we go. Change it to the bar graph and then L2. And turn it on. When I go into Y equals, you guys see how they're both on. We're gonna zoom 9 and look at our graph. So the first one, if we go back, let me check on it. The first one was blue, the second one was red. So the first one was blue, the second one was red. So does it become more peaked or less peaked? Blue was the first one, red was the second one. More peaked, so it's not these. If we want to check spread, if you guys are not sure about it on that, you can also change them to box plots. So I did that one. I did this one. Look at your middle box. Remember, your blue is your first one. Is your blue your first one? Is that what I said? Blue is the first one, red is the second one. Did it become less spread or more spread from blue to red? Less. Those are really weird. Let's see. 48. This one is a very long problem. It's not hard. It just takes forever. So the table shows the shoe size and age of 7 boys. Approximately what percent of the boys' ages is more than 1 year different from the age predicted by the line of best fit? So the first thing you need to do is find the line of best fit. So that's stat. So 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. 9, 11, 15, 11, 15. 16, 17, and delete the rest of them. All right, stat, calc, linear regression. Here's your line of fit. It's a really crappy line, but we're going to use it. 1.1262. I'm going to go 4 decimal places because it's a lot of decimals. Plus 4.097, and I'm going to round that to a 1. So it's asking which one is more than 1 year different from the predicted. This is the actual, the line is your predicted. So what you have to do now, this is why I told you it was a long one, you have to put in all your X values and find out what your Y is. So we're going to start with 6. So we're going to use this equation and we're going to plug in 6 the first time. So 1.1262, plug in 6, 4.0971. When I plug in 6, I get 10.85. Both of these are 6, so that's why I can write it there. Now I'm going to do 7. The next time I'm going to plug in, not 4, I'm going to plug in 7. I get 11.98. I'm going to plug in 8 the next time. I get 13.10. I'm going to plug in 9. I get 14.23. I'm going to plug in 10. Have I done anything hard? No, it's just taking forever. 15.35. And then I'm going to plug in 12. 17.611. Now it wants to know which ones are more than a year different. Okay, so let's look at this. 9 to 10.85. Is that more than 1? Look at it. Look at my calculator. Is that more than 1 year different? Kevin. Kevin. One more time. The difference is 1.85. Is that more than 1 year different? Yeah, 1.85 is more than 1, right? So I'm gonna highlight that one. That one's good. The next one is 11 minus 10.85. Is that bigger than 1? No, we don't want that one, so we're gonna leave it alone. 15 minus 11.98. Is that more than 1? So I'm gonna highlight that one. 11, let me do it this way. 13.10 minus 11. Is that more than 1? Yes. 15 minus 14.23. Is that more than 1? So I'm gonna leave that one alone. 16 minus 15.35. Is that more than 1? Nope, leave that one alone. And then 17 minus 17.611. Is that more than 1? 0.6 is not more than 1. So I'm gonna leave that one alone. So that means I did 3 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is 42.85% or 43. So again, not a hard problem. It's just really long. All right, let's get back to number 1. These are calculator inactive. It says Jesse's bus ride. This is number 1. Jesse's bus ride to school is 5 minutes more than 2/3 the time of Robert's. How do I write that equation? 5 more than 2 times Robert's. 2/3 times Robert's. How do I write 5 minutes more? That's an add, right? How do I write 2/3 the time of Robert's bus ride? Come on, guys. This is from like day 3. How do I write this equation? Just like if I had 2 times Robert's bus ride or twice Robert's bus ride. So our equation is 2/3 x. And we're going to add 5. You know how to write this equation because you just did it with another problem. Okay, y'all don't be lazy today. This is pretty much some of your last reviews before you take your test. We need to make sure we're listening. All right, so what are these 2 numbers? What's this number? That's where you start, right? Your y-intercept or your start. What is this number? Slope. All right, so we should start at 5. Is this one going to start at 5? And watch your scale. Where should it start? This one starts at 5, but which axis is it on? It should be on the y, so we know it's not this one, right? All right, so this one is on the y at 5, so that could be our answer. Let's check the other 2. This one starts at 5 on the y-axis, so that one could be our answer, but what about this one? Good. All right. So then we have rise 2, run 3, which will work on this scale because it's 5, 10, 15, 5, 10, 15. Since they're equal, it'll still work the same way. So we're going to rise 2. Let's go up here. Rise 2, run 3. Rise 2, run 3. Are we hitting that line? So B should be our answer. If we look at the other one, and we do rise 2, run 3, we're not on the line. So C is not your answer. Any questions? Is everybody good? All right. We get number 2. All right, these, you have to write the equations. And then they're not going to even give you good equations. I'm just going to let you know that right now. It says the number of pounds of apples, y minus 2 times the number of pounds of oranges, x is at most 5. So we need to know what at most means. We need to know how to write the equation. And it just wants to know which one graphs this. So let's start. The number of pounds of apples, y, minus, it tells you 2 times the number of pounds of oranges, x, at most. At most means that's as big as it can be. So it cannot be greater than, it has to be what? Less than. And it's going to be less than or equal to 5. We're going to write all the equations and then I'm going to show you how to get the answer. The number of pounds of apples, y, minus half of the oranges. So half of the oranges. Here we see at most again, which was less than or equal to, and 5. The next one, the number of pounds of apples, y, plus 2 times the oranges is at most 5. The good thing is they're all at most. So even if you screwed up the inequality on this one, you're still going to get the right answer. Okay. The number of pounds of apples, y, plus half the oranges is at most 5. Well, how am I going to be able to graph these? What do I need to do? Every time we graph in our calculator, where do we put it? What's the button we push? No, I got to put it in there before I hit graph. Where do I put it? You put it in y equals. So what do you think we need to do to these equations? Get it into y equals. So how do we get the first one to get y by itself? What do I need to move? How do I move a negative 2x? So we're going to change it to the other side by adding 2x. Where would we start? And we do. But the problem is I have rise 2, run 1. What's wrong with that? It's going up, right? What's this graph doing? Going down, so it's not this one. All right, on the next one, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to add 1/2 x. This says rise 1, run 2. Still not right. Does everybody understand that? So it can't be that one. How do I get a plus 2 to the other side? Subtract 2x. So it says start at 5, go down 2 and over 1. Start at 5, go down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. Am I hitting the line? That's your answer. You got to know how to write equations. All right, look at number 5. The floor of a rectangular cage has a length 4 feet greater than its width, W. James will increase both dimensions of the floor by 2 feet, which equation represents the new area. So the first thing is anytime you see this, we're going to draw it. So we have a rectangle. It says the length is 4 feet greater than the width. How do I write that? 4 feet greater than the width. Not 4W, but you add them. Very good. And it says the width is W. Doesn't matter if you put those on the top side and whatever. It says they're going to increase both dimensions by 2. What does increase by 2 mean? Add 2. Thank you for participating today. I really appreciate it. When we clean this up, this is W plus 6 and this one is W plus 2. How do we find the area of a rectangle? Our length was W plus 6. We multiply it by our width. which was W plus 2. You guys typically do the box with this, so we'll come over to the side. And we'll have the W in the 6, the W in the 2. What goes in the first box? Not 2W, but W squared. W squared. What goes in this box? 6W. Next box. And last box. 12. So they should all start with W squared. They do. I can't eliminate anything. Remember the middle diagonal you add. What is 2 plus 6? They should have an 8W. Well, that eliminates everything except for D, and it should finish with 12. We're going to skip 6 and go to number 7. I promise I'm not going to teach much longer. I know y'all are tired of listening to me. Okay, we're going to skip number 6 and we're going to go to number 7. It says the math club sells candy bars and drinks during the football games. 60 candy bars and 110 drinks will sell for $2.65. 120 candy bars and 90 drinks will sell for $2.70. How much does each candy bar sell for? You will have questions like this, and they will be calculator inactive. You have to set up equations. You were really, really good at these when we did them in class, okay? So 60 candy bars, how can I write that? 60C. And 110 drinks, so plus 110 D will give you 265. The next one says 120 candy bars, 90 drinks, gives you 270. We don't have anything alike at all. So what I taught you to do was multiply the first two, but that's going to take forever and it's going to give you huge numbers. Can I make 60 look like 120? Multiply by 2. You should be able to see that really quickly. The reason being, I'm going to kind of separate this. 2 times 60 is 120, so that gets it even. What's 2 times 110? If you have to, you have scrap paper. Add it up. Yep. And then you have 265 times 2. Again, add it up on your scrap paper. 5 plus 5 is 10, carry your 1. 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13, carry your 1. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 1 is 530. How do I get them to cancel out? How do I get them to cancel out? Because I want them to cancel out. Subtract them or change all the signs. So change, change, change. So the 120s will cancel out. Now you might have trouble with 90 minus 220. I do it the opposite way. 220 minus 90. You should know how to do this. My little boy knows how to do it. He's in 5th grade. 0. You borrow 12 minus 9 is 3. I can do that on my hand if I need to and bring down the 1, 130. Since the bigger number is negative, your number should be negative. Same thing on this one. 530 minus 270, the zeros are fine. Borrow to get your 13. Count on your fingers if you have to. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 6. And then a 2. Since the bigger number is negative, this will be negative. How do I solve for D? Divide by negative 130. To do this, add 130. How many ever times it takes you to get to 260 is what the answer is. It took me 2 130s to get there. What did I just solve for? Drinks. What am I supposed to be solving for? So all I have to do is plug it back in. Find your easiest one. This had smaller numbers, so that's the one I'm going with. 60C plus 110. We found that drinks were $2 equals 265. Look at how much work I've done. If you turn in blank paper, you're not going to pass this exam. I'm telling you guys, do some work. 110 times 2 is 220 equals 265. We have to get C by itself, so I'm going to subtract 220. We take away that 5. 6 minus 2 is 4. And then here's where it gets a little bit crazy. We're going to divide by 60, but it shouldn't be hard for you, okay? 45 over 60. Both will reduce by what? 5. 9 times 5 is 45. 60 is 12, right? Everybody good with that? That's multiplication tables. Will those reduce? By 3. So we get 3/4. What is 3/4? What's your decimal for 3/4? You guys should know this. What's your decimal for 1/4?
135.
This for 3/4, right? Think about it. If it's fourths, think about quarters in a dollar. If you have 3/4, how many do you have? So each candy bar is 75 cents. Okay. Again, that's a trudge through that problem. They will have one like that on the exam. Okay. Do not waste all of your time on the calculator inactive. It is not split up. It's not like here, it's 20 minutes for calculator inactive. It is complete your calculator inactive, raise your hand, get a calculator, move on to the next. Everybody understand that? There is no specific time, so I would not spend forever on that. If you don't know it, move to the next one. When you get to the calculator active part, do what I'm doing on this exam, in this practice exam, and find the ones that you do know how to do, or you think you know how to do, and do those first. Come back to the hard ones after you're finished. All right. Number 8, consecutive integers. You guys were not very good at this, so it's good that we review it, and that's kind of why I made it last. What is the smallest of 3 consecutive positive integers if the product of the smaller 2 integers is 5 less than 5 times the larger? Don't get lost in the words. 3 consecutive positive. All they're telling you is you're going to have positive answers when you finish. That's all they're telling you. Consecutive means back to back. So your first one, we don't know, is going to be X. Back to back means we're going to add 1. Since we're doing 3 of them, we're going to add another 1 or add 2 total. Yes. Yes. Is everybody good? It's looking for the smallest one, which is going to be X. So we're looking for X. The product, what does product mean? What's product mean? Remember, total would be adding all together. We have product, we have quotient, we have the difference. What's product dealing with? It's multiply. Product is multiply, so we need to know that. The product or multiply the smaller 2 integers. Which ones are your smaller 2? So we're going to multiply those. When we get to is, that means equals. Be careful about this. We talked about this a lot when we were doing this. 5 less than 5 times the largest. How do I write 5 times the largest? Just write it in parentheses, right? 5 times x plus 2. How do I write 5 less than that? Subtract 5. That is perfect. And now you're just solving. When we have parentheses, we're going to distribute. X times x is x squared. X times 1 is x. Distribute again. 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 2 is 10. And then we have a minus 5. Clean it up. We have x squared plus x equals 5x plus 10 minus 5 is 5. Guys, anytime you see x squared and x, It means you're gonna factor. So we gotta get everything on the same side. So I'm gonna subtract 5x. What is 1 minus 5? Negative 4x. And then I'm gonna subtract 5 to the other side and get a minus 5. I need factors of negative 5 that add to negative 4. What are your only factors of 5? 5 and 1. How can I get a negative 4? If this number is negative, your bigger one has to be negative. Everybody got it? What are your two answers? What is this answer going to be? Positive 5. What's this answer going to be? It told us it had to be positive, right? You see what I'm saying? That's why it told you positive. So we're not doing this. So our answer is 5. All right. The function f of t equals negative 5t squared plus 20t plus 60 models the approximate height of an object after t seconds after its launch. How many seconds does it take the object to hit the ground? So the ground height would be what? If it's on the ground, what's the height? 0. So you're actually taking this and setting it equal to 0. Anytime you have x squared and x, what are we doing? What I just say. Anytime, yeah, we got to factor this. What's my first step to factoring? If there's a number in front. You can. You surely can on this. If they're just asking you just a factor, like they're looking for the factors, make sure you pull out the GCF first. So we can slide and divide, and that'll be fine, but it's going to make big, huge numbers. So what I want to do is go ahead and take that GCF out first. All of these numbers are divisible by what? They're all divisible by 5. I'm going to take out a negative 5. All that means is the signs will change. So we're going to divide these by negative 5. I get a positive t squared. What is 20 divided by negative 5? Negative 4. And then 60 divided by negative 5 is negative 12. I need factors of negative 12 that add to negative 4. Negative 12 that add to negative 4. You have factors of 12, 1, and 12. 1 has to be negative since I have a negative 12. These do not get us negative 4. We can try 2 and negative 6 or negative 2 and 6. When we add 2 minus 6, we get negative 4. So our two factors are t minus 2. I'm sorry, t plus 2 and t minus 6. What are my two answers? Negative 2 and positive 6. We're talking about seconds. Can we have negative seconds? Nope. So our answer is 6. Watch what they ask for. All right. One more and we'll stop. I am going to talk to you about the test for just a minute, okay? But let's do number 10, talk to you about the test, and then we're done. 2 times Antonio's age plus 3 times Sarah's age equals 34. Sarah's age is also 5 times Antonio's age. How old is Sarah? This is the same as the candy bar problem, okay? So how do I write 2 times Antonio? 2A, and I'm going to make a capital A. Plus 3 times Sarah. How do I write 3 times Sarah? Equals 34. Then your next one says Sarah's age is. So Sarah is. S is. 5 times Antonio's age. How do I write that? 5 times Antonio. 5A. We've done a question like this. It was just in our calculator. We're going to take this and put it in for S. So this is actually easier than the candy bar problem. So we have 2A plus 3 times, instead of S, we're going to use 5A equals 34. What's 3 times 5? 15. So plus 15A equals 34. What's 15 plus 2? 17. And again, remember, if you don't know how to divide, you just keep adding. So how many times can I add 17 before I get 34? 7 plus 7 is 14, carrier 3. I got to 34. How many 17s did it take? 2. It didn't ask how old Antonio was. What did it ask? It said Sarah is 5 times Antonio. Antonio is 2, so Sarah is 10. All right. Stay with me. I know we didn't finish all of these. It's okay. I got to the ones I needed to get to. We're going to go over the test specs really quick, just so you know what you're looking at. So here's what you got for Math 1. Number and quantity in algebra, which is solving equations like we've been doing, is 36 to 40% of your test. 36 to 40%. That means about 20 questions, 20 to 25 questions. All right. The next one is 32 to 36. That's about 20 questions. Are functions, your f of x, your linear relationships. So doing your stat and your linear equations, slope, y-intercept, all of that. Geometry, that's the perimeter problems, are only like 5 or 6 problems. Okay, on the entire test, it's not going to kill you. Perimeter and area, which we did today. Statistics and probability are 18 to 20%. Those are your box plots that we did very last. So everything that we did very last, mean, median, mode. Those questions are very easy. Everybody got it. So those are your test specs. So that's what's coming in. So your area perimeter is not going to kill you. The next one is stats and probability. So if you can get a few of them, you're okay. But number and quantity and algebra and functions. So solving equations and being able to graph them or manipulate them. All right. If we look on this page, and it has math 3 on there too, but we don't have to worry about that. There are a total of 60 questions. Your 60 questions are made up of 50 actual questions that are graded and 10 that are field tests. That means they're trying to test them out to see if they want to use them on a new version. Does that make sense? So they're not really graded. You have no idea what 10 it is. Okay? Does that make sense? So 50 questions. Here's how it's broken down. You have 35 calculator active and 15 calculator inactive that are graded. Does everybody understand? So now it might be 20 and 40. You're going to see 20 inactive and 40 active, and that splits up the 10 that you have that are extra. All right. You have 3 hours of regulation testing, a max of 4 hours to finish the test. You're going to be sitting in here anyway. You might as well try. You can't leave from the time 8:30 to 11:30. You're going to be in here anyway. That's your 3 hours. So you might as well take the test and try to do your best on it. Okay. Do like I said, don't spend forever on the calculator inactive. Do what you know. When you're done and you're frustrated with it, move on. When you get to the calculator active part, skip through and do the easy ones. Do the easy ones first and then come back. All the ones that go in stat, do those first because you know how to do those. And then come back to the harder ones. When you start your test on Wednesday, you have to start with a tutorial. So that tutorial is not graded. Listen to me carefully. The tutorial is not graded. They just want to make sure you know how to manipulate your computer. Okay, so like if it's a drag and drop answer, it don't matter what answers you drag and drop, they're not grading it. So they just want you to understand how to drag and drop. When you read a passage and they ask you to type an answer, they're not looking for the answer. They're looking for the fact that you can type in that box. Don't spend 30 minutes on the tutorial questions. That's longer you're going to have to stay during the day. So once you understand what to do with the tutorial, just keep going. So everybody got it? Don't spend 20 minutes reading the passage. It's not important. They're not grading it. They're just seeing that you can type in the box. Make sense? When you get to the actual test part, there will be sample questions. Do your sample questions count? No, they're just making sure you know how to click the button. You do not distinguish between sample questions and test time. So when it pops up, it'll say sample question 1, do sample question 1. You are already wasting your test time. Get the sample questions out of the way, nobody grades them. Make sense? Just get done. All right. So when you come into the testing session, you will not have a calculator. They will give that to you. You will start with the inactive. Again, it's not like you will inactive for 15 minutes. It is you will inactive for however long you inactive. Got it? So you'll get to the last question on inactive. It'll put up that big red stop sign. You'll raise your hand. The test administrator will bring you a calculator. You move on. So everybody's going to be at different times, and that's okay. Just please don't waste time on questions that you don't know. Don't just sit there staring at it. Move on to something else. At the point where you're done, like the inactive questions, I did 5 of them. I don't know the rest of them. I'm going to try and at least guess on multiple choice. It's not going to hurt you. But when you are done with that and you know that you can't do anymore, please stop that section and move on to the next one, because you will do okay on the calculator inactive. Okay. The calculator active. So ready, good. Don't waste a bunch of time on questions you don't know. Skip them, come back to them. But also, once you finish the calculator active, all the ones that you know, take your time and try to go back. Okay. Take that time. You're here anyway. Got it? You can't have your phones. You can't do it. You're not going to get out any faster. You're not going to get your phone back any faster. You might as well take the test and have something to do. Get ready to understand. Do y'all have any questions for me? I sent you an email and I posted an announcement on where you go. I will try to send that again on Tuesday before you take your test on Wednesday. So let me go into my Canvas and I'll tell you guys where you're supposed to be. $510 is Mr. Craven. It's the end of the hall on this side, my side of the hall at the very end. Natalie, William, John, Corbin, Michaela, Matthew, Lucas, Adam, Holly Ann, Savannah, Skylar, Lillian, Serenity, and Kendall will be in that room. Room 11 is Mr. Tolles. If you guys walk the hall, the little short nurse lady, Tolles' room is right across from that. Okay. Hunter, Georgiana, Josh, and Kevin will be in room 11. Is everybody good? Any questions? There will be more people in there. Y'all are just the ones that are in that one. Everybody good? All right, I'm going to stop sharing, stop recording.